Hi, should you repot your Nepenthes and change the substrate? If you just got your plants from a nursery or the last repotting was 4 years ago, yes, you should. And that's really easy. I will show you in this video what I'm using and how I prepare the substrate for having a healthy, happy plant. So, here we go. One of the most important things for the Nepenthes and for carnivorous plants is the substrate. If you have not the proper substrate, that can slow the growth of your plant and that can definitely on the long run start suffocating the roots and poisoning the plants. So usually when you get your Nepenthes from a nursery, it will be basically in pure peat moss, and that's not good. That's way too compact and there is not enough aeration around the roots, and that can definitely the roots will start suffocating, and usually they start adding some fertilizer, and that's gonna poison your plants too. So you should definitely from a nursery plant start repotting, except if it's a proper carnivorous plant nursery, like specialized like that, as you can find in every country. Usually they do it right, they use some drainage, and that's exactly what you want to do. So if you decided to repot your plants, probably you did a research on internet, and maybe that's how you found me. So I'm quite happy for that. So there is a lot of recipe, and basically I would say every grower will have his own recipe. This is why this video will be in two parts. The first part will be what material is safe for you to use to prepare the substrate. And the second part will be the mix, the ratio that you want between the proper substrate and the drainage. Because if the substrate is too dense, that will suffocate your plants, whatever you use. Oh, another reason why you should really think about repotting your plants. If your plant starts, the pot of your plant starts to dry really quickly, that's probably because there is way too much roots inside this pot. That means the ratio between the substrate and the roots is not right. The plant is able to suck the water out of the substrate really quickly, and then you have to water it again and again, and at some point you will water basically every single day. So usually that's the sign that come from your plants and tell you, yeah, you should provide me a bigger pot or maybe a new media, new substrate. So let's start by the first part, the materials. What kind of material are safe for you to use to repot your plant? I will put you closer so you have a better look of all these pots. So for me, here is the main ingredients I'm using. There is the long fiber sphagnum moss. This is kind of a dried moss, but it's able to retain a lot of moisture. The evolution, how evolved this sphagnum moss, is peat moss. This is kind of a dirt, but again, it's really low in nutrients and basically it's just like a sponge. We have the classic perlite, really light, and it don't really rot over time, so that's really good. But you can also use the cocoa husk. Cocoa husk is basically a piece of cocoa, and it's a lot of fibers and some parts are kind of woody, but that's good. If you wash them before, it's good. So basically, what you could use, and a lot of carnivorous plants and Nepenthes grower recommend that, just sphagnum moss plus perlite. But there is a lot of other stuff that you can use, and a lot of people using different kind of media that are also safe. There is orchid bark that a lot of orchid grower use. It's really good for drainage. There is also the vermiculite. Vermiculite is really good to retain moisture, but over time it will compact. And that will be too compact for the plant, so maybe you will use something else. There is the Silica Sand. This is pool sand. People use that because it won't kind of melt regular sand. If you wash it and you test the water, you will see there is minerals from the sand that will go into the water. Some people also use activated charcoal. You can find this kind of a charcoal in aquarium stuff. If you have some, yes, use it in complement of the main mix. And there is also people that will use more fancy, maybe expensive stuff that come from the bonsai hobby, like Akadama, Kanuma, this kind of stuff. If I'm right, it's not decomposing over time. So that's why you have a pot and you can keep it like for, I don't know, maybe a decade. The only thing would be you want to use this media in really big adult plant, because for the small plant that we will have to repot every 2 to 4 years because it's overgrown the pot, you don't want to use this kind of media. For me it's kind of expensive. It's way cheaper having a disposable mix that you can just throw away, and it's no big deal because that's not expensive. And I heard that some people use Aquarium Gravel. Again, probably not leaking any minerals, but I never really test that, and it looks weird to me, so I will pass for that. So as you see, a lot of possibility. Some of the material will be really easy to find, as the Peat Moss or the Perlite or the Vermiculite. Some won't be that easy. For example, Coco Husk, you can find that in a reptile shop. And the Sphagnum, depending of where you live, you can find some or not. And you don't want to grow, to buy like frog moss or this kind of a weird moss. No, you want Sphagnum moss. So I will put a link in the description below, a link to Amazon Canada and Amazon US, depending of where you live, where you will be able to order the Sphagnum moss and the Perlite, because with just these two mix together, you can repot your plants and they will be happy. So, speaking about sphagnum, usually when you get the sphagnum, it's pressed and dried, so it's really small and it can look expensive for what it is, but put it into water and then it will suck all the water and start expanding again, and you have way too much, as you see. Oh, I have a favor to ask you. Could you like this video if you get value out of it, and if you really want to learn more about how to grow Nepenthes on your windowsill, I encourage you to subscribe and hit the little bell so you make sure you will see the next video. Okay, so let's go now to the second part, the mix, the density of the media. So here is the media you should try to have. Mainly it will be long fiber sphagnum moss and perlite. Then you can add, if you want, you don't have to, some coco husk, just to have big pieces that will that won't compact and let some aeration. So as you see, it's not really some dirt. It's really light and a lot of air. It's still humid, definitely, and it will retain a lot of moisture. But that's the light mix that you are looking for. Do you remember this little nursery plant that was on the first part of this video? As everything is already mixed and ready, I will repot it, and that's gonna be my next video. So stay tuned and you'll see how I do that. It's quite easy, you'll see. Feel free to leave comments. What is your mix that you're using, and maybe in what proportion, the ratio, so everyone can exchange their recipe. So, until next time, happy growing!